But there is some shocking incident of reality smacking the good kid up in the face right now.
I think this is just football in today's day and age. These teams aren't ready to play in September, and so that's the way it's going to be. And I think that was on display yesterday. But go ahead. What is your
30 quarterbacks played? Total yardage minus the 30 quarterbacks that played. The average was 195.5 yards.
I was going to guess like 210, so it was even lower than that.
195.5 yards.
Yikes.
What's the frequency, Kenneth?
What is it?
2 300-yard games, 12 200-yard-plus games, 15 games that settled into 100 and change, like 184, 165, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
And one game
with 93 yards.
Chicago Bears with 93 yards.
Oh, yeah.
So that's your frequency, Kenneth, 195.5 yards per game in the NFL.
How about that?
And that is a paltry number.
A lot of people, including I think our very own David Kaplan, unfortunately knocked out of the
I'm
survivor
not
pool
out.
already because a lot of
Biggest
people.
loser was the Bengals.
I'm in that myself.
Yeah, I'm in it myself.
Who'd you guys have?
We had Seattle Seahawks.
Good call. All right,
Yeah.
you had Seattle.
4,800 and change
Had
have
Cincinnati.
been eliminated on Cincinnati.
I know a lot of people this week are going to look at the Raiders crossing the country with the Ravens coming off extra rest and a loss at home. A lot of people are probably going to pick the Raiders. Just FYI, Lamar Jackson didn't practice today. John Harbaugh meets the media later. We'll find out why. Maybe it's no big deal. I think it probably is, Yerk, and that game's not till Sunday. Today's Monday, but just FYI, before you lock it in, and you've got time. Lamar did not practice today. I think I could maybe play quarterback for the Ravens this week, and they'll probably win that game, though, against Minshew and Antonio Pierce crossing the country. Did you see what Antonio Pierce did yesterday? Antonio Pierce did something yesterday that no coach in the NFL has done.
What did Antonio Pierce do?
Any game in 8 years, Yurko.
What happened?
And this was predicted if you listen to the AFC West breakdown on the Odds Couple, and Mike and I talked about the Raiders. We did wonder how long can like the rah-rah stuff work as a coach? It works when you're the interim coach.
It's got a shelf life, guys.
It's got a shelf life. And the Raiders are going to Raider. And so they're like, yeah, we'll just keep Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce yesterday, down 6 points in the fourth quarter, decided it was a good idea to punt from the opposition's 43-yard line. That ain't going to work, coach. And then he bragged about it afterwards. Well, we got what we wanted. We pinned him at the 10-yard line. Good luck to you.
By the way, pinning is not being pinned at the 10 is not being pinned.
He's the first
being pinned at the 5-yard line is being pinned.
He's the first coach in 8 years to punt the football in the fourth quarter in the opponent's territory down one score.
Yeah.
The first coach in 8 years. And whoever the knucklehead was in 2016, I'd love to know, because even in 2016, it was unacceptable. I'd love to know who that was. And it might have been a coach who was
McCarthy.
Quickly shown the door. Even Mike McCarthy, I don't think would do that, to be honest. And I'm not a Mark McCarthy guy at all. That had to be somebody like, who was the guy that lasted a year at Houston? David, what was his name? Where he was...
David Hyde Smith.
No, I can't remember. I don't know.
No, he was in Frazier. He was in Frazier.
Wasn't like Cauley or
David
something?
Caldwell?
Something like that.
Cauley?
Something
not
like
Jim
that.
Caldwell. Duh, not Jim Caldwell.
Not Caldwell.
David Culley? Does that sound right?
Cully?
Was that a coach? Am I crazy?
So.
He didn't last long because he was doing things like he was like declining penalties and then punting. Like he was doing weird things. David Culley?
Yeah, David Culley.
Yeah, David Culley. I don't
Fired
know if he was
after
the
1
guy.
year for the Houston Texans.
Oh my God.
Was that 2016? When was that? Or I feel like that was
2022.
Oh, okay. That was much more recent.
I just looked at him.
Well, I don't know who the knucklehead was in 2016 that did it, but it's inexcusable. And I mean, you know,
yeah,
I don't know what
coach.
It tells your players. Go listen to what Gardner Minshew and Devontae Adams said after the game about it. And for all the rah-rah stuff that worked last year because they couldn't stand the other guy, they couldn't stand Josh McDaniels, that's only going to take you so far. And, you know, go look at your team in the eye and be like, yeah, we're going to punt down 6. 4th and 1, by the way, Yurko. I don't know if I mentioned that.
4th and 1?
It was 4th and 1. It wasn't 4th and 7. Even that, you'd be like, why are you punting from the 43? It was 4th and 1. So let me reiterate. It was 4th and a yard. And the head coach thought it was a good idea to punt.
We pinned him.
So good luck.
Okay, I'm glad you brought this up, Carmen, because yesterday in the second half, in the seats at the stadium, not to get us back to the Bears.
No, we want to get
Abdallah and I were having quite the debate on whether or not Eberflus was too conservative kicking a field goal at 4th and 2 in
where
Titans territory. So what do you think the win probability would be? Because he took two
field goals. Is that the one that
goals.
got them within a point?
No, that
which one was that, Chris? I'm trying to remember now.
I think it's the one that got them within.
Was that the one that made it 17-13?
Yeah,
17-13.
Because my argument was, okay, you haven't been able to score it all, but if you get into field goal range 2 more times.
They kicked it. It was 4th and 2 from the Tennessee 32, 14:47 in the fourth quarter on the clock, and the score was 17-13.
That made the score 17-13, though,
yes,
right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so you were just entering the fourth quarter.
Just entering the fourth,
down 4.
And
you were at the 35-yard line, 4th and 2.
Because my argument was like the counter argument is you made a touchdown game. You made a 1-score game a 1-score game.
I hate that. I hate that.
And that's what we were debating. We were debating like, is this one of those situations that the win probability or whoever on social media controls it says that's a coward's field goal?
Yeah.
Like one of those situations.
Did we see it? Should we check Seth Walder's Twitter?
I didn't see anything. I'll try and look. But I was wondering if you were thinking the same thing.
I don't like it either. I don't like making a 1-score game a 1-score game. I do agree with that.
No, but my point was that you haven't been able to do anything on offense.
I know.
So the way the defense was playing in the third quarter and the way Will Levis hasn't been able, they weren't able to run the ball. They weren't able to do anything. I was fine with it because Cairo Santos was money from 50, from 48, whatever. It's like
you still need a touchdown, though.
No, but you need because you had time for 2 more field goals. And if you got 2 more field goals, you'd win the game.
I guess.
I see what you're saying.
Like that was the logic about Abdallah kept pointing to. Is like we could field goal them to death. And when I was like, "What?" But it's 4th and 2.
Score game. Like it's still.
How'd the Steelers win yesterday?
Oh my God!
6 field goals.
6. Who's their kicker? Boswell? Is that right? I might have that wrong. I don't know. I don't know.
Who's kicker?
Pittsburgh's. But I'm saying if you had him in fantasy, isn't it like Boswell? What's his name? Where's Meller when you need him?
Doesn't matter.
Boy, Meller again.
Either way, having his kicker is fine.
Meller getting chesty on Torrey Taylor. I'm like, did Torrey Taylor have a great game? I mean,
what's he getting chesty?
Didn't Torrey Taylor basically do what every punter is expected to do?
No, I mean, but what did he do? That was special.
I don't know. Not
trying to
Thing.
understand. Yeah. What did he do?
Meller was yelling at me and Waddle about field position.
Did he
again.
outkick his coverage?
I don't know
what happened.
I was like, didn't he basically do like what every punter in the league should do?
Be a lot nicer to have a real offensive lineman than a punter in the 4th round. Just saying.
That's true.
Not just me, but
that's true.
I mean, it's like,
but we got our punter. We don't have a center.
There's no center
or a right guard.
But
don't worry about it. We got a punter. Yeah. Who, when he had his first chance to put the ball inside the 10,
he didn't.
Punted into the end zone.
The patented backspin wasn't there. It went. It shot forward at 100 miles an hour
into the water. If he's a golfer, into the water.
But good thing they. Yeah, I mean, Meller's getting chesty with like, well, guys, hey, this is why field position is important. I thought we were beyond that. I thought the Bears have an offense and a quarterback. I thought.
That's why it was an arrogant pick.
Name the punter from any of the Patriots Super Bowl winning teams. Go. Name the punter.
I will say
Tom Tupa.
Name the punter.
Tom Tupa.
Name the punter from the Chiefs last year.
Harrison Butker.
Name the punter from the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl. But you know what you can do?
Jeff Fiegels.
You can name 20 other players across the roster. I promise you that. Chris Long.
It is kind of funny that Caleb said what he said on draft day about the punter not having the punt, and the dude didn't even throw 100 yards yesterday, and we've got the punter out there.
It's like Iowa again. The punter had as many kicks as he did.
I mean, it is kind of funny that Caleb said what he said.
That might be Caleb's version of I don't think the game is too fast for me. Like
Caleb?
Said. Yeah?
You don't need the punter? Guess what? And now our point is only like, can't you find a punter to do that job? Most punters kind of do that job? You know, you had to spend a 4th-round pick. That's all. It doesn't make any sense to us.
And then somebody wanted to say, well, the cover. No. If you draft a special punter, he should be able to do it by himself. He's the messiah of punters. You know that.
I guess.
That's what I've been told.
Iowa's offense still stinks, by the way. Back down to reality for Iowa playing Iowa State this weekend.
I saw them score a couple touchdowns, though, didn't they?
They lost. What, they lose 21-20? Was that final?
They were
game?
up like 13-0.
They lost
2 overs in a row though for Iowa.
That game did go over. That's true. Well, the total was like 34, Adam. I mean,
I know.
35.5, right? What did it finish? 21-20? I'm trying to remember what the final score was.
They lost by 1.
They lost by 1, I think. Yeah, Iowa State was a small dog and won outright. Harding's in Charlotte on ESPN 1000. What's up, Harding?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? I heard the ding, and I was like, hey, I don't want to interrupt this great conversation, so I didn't say anything. Hey, listen, I want to know this, okay? So when we look at what's going on offensively, and you look at, and I want to, say this before I get into my comment. By no means am I suggesting we stick with Justin Fields and get rid of Caleb Williams or anything like that. Like, Caleb Williams, right pick. By no means am I suggesting that the offense is worse off with Waldron over Getsy. Like, no. But with the skill positions supposedly being the best we've had maybe of all time besides the Super Bowl winning team, like this team's supposed to be pretty good from a skill position standpoint. We set up Caleb Williams to enter this team in a tremendous spot to be successful. For him to have had a worse game than Justin Fields at Pittsburgh, finding out that he's starting 2 hours before the game,
right?
How long is the coaching leash going to be if the offense continues to go this way? And maybe not Matt Eberflus, because Eberflus's defense played really well. Same thing like Mike Tomlin, known as a defensive head coach, right? But like, is Shane Waldron going to see any type of hot seat at the beginning of the season? Not to overreact, but who's going to be held accountable if this offense continues to struggle?
Harding, I don't know. I mean, it's a fair enough question, I guess, but it'd be shocking to me. I mean, you just hired him. So what are you going to do? What are the alternatives? What are the better options? You believe that much in Kerry Joseph? No, I don't think there will be any sort of hot seat. I don't. I do anticipate it to get better. I really, really do. And that you could be like, duh, what a statement, Carm. It can't get worse. They failed to gain 150 yards.
Yeah, that's
you
bad.
got to work hard.
That's
to
bad.
suck that much.
Yeah.
So, it'll get better. But I think noticeably things will improve. And I think it'll, at least I hope, there is talent in those positional rooms across their offense.
Quarterback has talent too.
There's a coordinator that might not be perfect, but has experience in this league that had an offense that functioned at a somewhat efficient rate the last few years in Seattle. I know he's not perfect. Knock off the Gerald Everett stuff too.
Yeah,
he should not have 7 more snaps than Cole Kmet.
Enough of Gerald Everett?
He should not have. I don't mind 2 tight end stuff. You need it. Good.
Right.
Go 2 tight end. I like it. Do some more 12 personnel. Do some 22. I don't care. But come on. There's no reason Cole Kmet's snap count should be below 50%. Cole Kmet was on the field for 48% of the offensive snaps. That's silly.